The doctor's hand trembled as he held the folder. His eyes flicked from the report to my face, then back again, like he was deciding if he should even speak. Finally, he leaned in, close enough that his breath touched my ear. "Leave this hospital, now. File for divorce." I froze. "What do you mean?" He shook his head, voice cracking. "There's no time to explain. You'll understand when you see this." He pressed the report into my palm, fingers cold, and walked out of the exam room. My wife sat on the table, humming, quietly, tapping her phone, not even looking at me. I looked at her smile, then I looked down at the report. What I saw ended my marriage before I even closed the folder. And I never went home. At first, I thought it was a mistake. Hospitals lose files, blood tests get mislabeled, nothing is perfect. But the words were plain. Numbers didn't lie. The dates, the genetic markers, the absolute certainty that the child she carried was not mine, not even close. I sat there in silence, the paper burning in my hands. Her laughter rang out beside me as she typed on her phone, oblivious, or pretending. The doctor's words dug deeper with every second. File for divorce. I wanted to confront her, to demand answers, but instead I folded the report neatly, slid it into my jacket, and forced myself to breathe evenly. She glanced up. "Everything okay?" I smiled, calm, rehearsed. "Everything's fine." Inside, something had already snapped. Not loudly, not violently, more like glass cracking under slow, relentless pressure. I became a ghost in my own life, moving through the days as if nothing had changed, while every step was a quiet act of surveillance. I ordered my own DNA test, sent the samples off with steady hands, though my chest felt like it might tear open. I watched her phone at night, her messages hidden under fake contact names. Trips to the store that took too long, late-night calls whispered from the bathroom. I said nothing. I gave her no reason to suspect. The waiting was agony, but also power. I was gathering pieces, assembling the puzzle one silent fragment at a time. When the DNA results returned, I already knew the answer. The child was not mine. The science only confirmed what my instinct screamed. I began tracing calls, tracking bank statements, subtle things, quiet things. Each line of data cut me deeper, but sharpened my resolve. Her life was a stage. I sat in the shadows, memorizing every false move. And I waited for the moment to lower the curtain. The truth came on a Wednesday. The folder arrived in the mail, sealed, clinical, impossible to argue with. I carried it home like a weapon. She was in the kitchen, humming again, setting plates on the table like a wife in some commercial. I set the folder down in front of her. "Open it." She laughed nervously. "What is this?" "Just open it." She did. Her smile dissolved. Her hands shook, her face drained of color. She looked up at me, mouth opening, closing, searching for a lie that could hold. But the silence was heavier than any words. Finally, she whispered, "I can explain." I cut her off with a calmness that frightened even me. "No, you can't." Her tears started before I even moved. I didn't scream, I didn't throw anything. I simply placed the divorce papers beside the folder. Signed, dated, prepared long before tonight. Her eyes widened. You already knew?" I nodded. "Long enough to stop loving you." The words broke her more than any violence could have. She collapsed against the table, sobbing, reaching for me with hands that once felt like home. I didn't move. "Please," she begged, "we can fix this." I slid the ring from my finger, set it on the table. The quiet click of metal against wood was louder than her cries. "Fix what?" I asked. The question wasn't for her, it was for myself. And the answer was clear. There was nothing left to fix. I walked out that night with nothing but a suitcase and the folder. The house looked different as I left it, smaller, empty, like a stage set after the play is over. Props scattered, lights off. I didn't feel rage, not anymore, only clarity. She would carry the weight of her lies. She would cradle a child born from betrayal, a reminder she could never escape. That was her punishment. Mine was freedom. I never looked back as I closed the door, and I never went home again.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and comment. Subscribe now to Cheating Stories Insight World for more amazing stories.